All right. Checking we're live. We are. Is there sound? Checking we're live. There is. Great. All right. We are. Is there sound? Can I mute that? Okay. All right. So today, what I want to do. So here's the game I'm working on with my company. The principle is pretty simple. You have a bunch of tiles in your hands, and as you click them, they get placed in the world, and your only goal is to make this human, the chosen one, survive the monsters, basically. Once you placed all the tiles, the hero advances and fights the enemies. It's kind of an auto-battler in a sense. Not really, but you watch what happens. In this case, it's pretty long. It shouldn't be that long. And then you pick, in this case, equipment or new tiles to add to your deck, and you repeat. And it's not quite there, but I think there is some promise. Yeah, the flow is pretty neat. I feel like you just have to pick the tile you want to play, and then it places it automatically in the next spot. That's pretty neat. And what I want to do today is implement God powers, which will be like basically small buttons that will be probably here, that you can click to perform a special action, like kind of a Joker bonus action that you can do only ever so often. The ideas that we had are, one is take back, like you click on a tile that is in the world and it comes back in your hand. So could, for example, if I had a level with an enemy that was too powerful or that I want to relocate, I can click, it goes to my hand, and then I can place it at some other location. Might be useful to do some combos. For example, this guy explodes when it's killed, and it poisons the neighbor enemies. So perhaps I want to take this guy back and then place them both next to each other so I can kill this guy, and so that this guy gets poisoned and dies without me taking any damage, or my chosen one not taking any damage. So that would be one of the powers. Another would be split the land. It would just insert a blank space. Like, for example, if I choose, when I trigger it, I have to choose a tile or a space between two tiles, and then it will like shift everything after that space and add a new space where I can place a tile, basically. And then others are duplicate, where you can duplicate a tile in your hands, entropy, where you discard and draw new cards, new tiles, and vegetalize. I just came up with this one, which is grow trees on grass tiles in the world. Like grass tiles are those, even though there is not much grass right now. Kind of I don't know if that's a good idea. It's kind of a funny one. We'll see what Jasper the game designer thinks, but it's easy to implement, so we might as well try it. So let's get started with implementation. So I have this big table of entities, and I will use it for God powers as well. And I think so I'll copy the names of all those God powers and make new abilities for them. basically each row represents a type of entity, and you can assign abilities to those entity types. And I want new one for the god powers. So I'll go there, ability, and there I need to insert new entries in this big enum. Alright, let's just split the land, duplicate entropy, vegetalize. Okay. And then I get errors where I need to take action. So for example, this switch that just returns the name of each ability is not happy. Up, back. Case, return, and then I can just paste the name of the ability, delete the prefix. Okay, good enough. Then this guy is basically the parameters of each entity. In this case, or of each ability, I mean. In this case, we don't really need any. We don't need any variation, I think. It's just, or maybe we need later, but for now we can just add empty arguments. Let's fix up the alignment. And then we got the big switch that this function trigger ability gets called whenever an ability is triggered, and we have a big switch of all the effects. And so we can again paste the name of all the abilities, and probably like just by hand copy this template. And get to implementation. We'll start with take back. But one thing I didn't really think about is it's not an instantaneous thing. It's not like you click the button and something happens. You have to select something, right? So I guess you click the button and somehow the button knows that it needs to switch you to a mode where you have to select an entity. Then as you select the entity, the ability gets triggered. Yeah, that's one way to do it. And so what I should actually start with is drawing kind of buttons for each god power. So let's go to where I draw this round 2 out of 20 on the top right. Here. And it's not in the top UI, interesting. And let's add a section, draw, or just god powers buttons or something. And let's have a loop. Do we want to show, perhaps we just show them all at first, so we loop over all the entity defs and defs, I guess. Kind of forgot the variable. Yeah, no, that was correct. And this is a dynamic array, I believe. I annotate it like this. Just checking What type of dynamic? Ah, it's the old type. Okay. Because I kind of changed the way I do the dynamic arrays. Alright. Let's go back to where we were here. So yeah, we just loop over all the entity defs. Entity defs are just the rows in this big table. And then we want to know which one are God powers. Already made a type for them. So for that, first we access them. And then we check type equal type, even entity type God power. And if that's true, it means that we are iterating over a God power. And so we should draw a button. I think we'll just get a rectangle to draw in. Oops. Layout. So we just give the rectangle of the game with some kind of margin. And then, okay, this is just aligning. So yeah, what I should really do is this. We top, right, layout. Then we make it pretty tall. We got the rectangle, and then we cut into that rectangle to do a layout inside it, basically. So rect, cut, top, and we want like, what did I have before? Something like 50 pixels of height, okay. And here we'll take, for each row we'll do a new rectangle, and it will have like 20 pixels of height or something. And that's only if we have a God power. Otherwise we don't want to change the layout. And then I think for now I'll just draw a button with entity def name. Let's see. So okay, so we got the buttons. And maybe we want some spacing and just put them a little higher up. So let's go with 20 for this guy as well. Okay. Add some spacing just by chipping away at the rectangle at the bottom. Up. Okay. And so when we click, we stick on take back. We want to switch to a mode where we have to select a tile to take back, basically. So for that we need some kind of state, right? Something that tracks. Are we in a mode where we need to select something? And that must be stored in the game state. Every time you have state, it goes in the game state. And I suppose I will call it like something like active God power. And it will be the definition ID, the entity definition ID. Meaning the ID of the row in the ID of the row in this table. This number. Oh my god, it's not correct here. Interesting. I think I have a bug with the hot reload, not remembering the highest number or whatever. I should fix that. 200. Okay. Alright. So when I click take back, I want this guy to be set to whatever the ID of the God power is. So draw. That's the one. So when I click it, it's immediate mode GUI, so you can do stuff like this, like it returns true or false depending on if it's clicked this frame. And we can just set this to the ID. Easy peasy. And how do I know that it works? Well, I will just call RDX track to log it or to show it here. Oh, there is a lot of crap I should clean up, but active God power def ID is 0 here. If I click, active God power is 228, which is the correct ID for TakeBack. Perfect. Now, I think I will at first assume that any God power needs a selection of a tile. Meaning when I click this and active God power def ID is not 0, I need to be in some kind of mode where I can select. So how can I do that? I guess the place where I draw those lines, I could also draw a mouse hover kind of thing. Let's try to see that wireframe. Oops. Well, where do I use this? Here. So in this code, I draw the empty space. Okay, I see. Okay. Perhaps I want to also draw in that place the highlighted tile, but not this kind of highlight. Like okay. How to say? God power selected. God power highlight, let's say. Okay. But how do we know if we hover it, or do I have this information somewhere? I didn't place it. So nav selected is for the keyboard navigation, but it's part of what we need. Okay. So yeah. I guess what I need to do first is remember how I do the hover stuff. Like with the keyboard, there is already this highlight. So let's see how I do it. Boost range, blah blah blah. Where is the nav selected? Nav highlighted tile pose offsets. It's kind of not great. Okay, so I see. The way, let me make the code a little bigger. You can read. So I'm already kind of stuck. Not fully, but a little bit. So the problem is I can hover stuff, but there is no explicit way to say I hover a tile position basically currently, except with a keyboard where I can do this. Perhaps I should do that when I hover any entity in the world. This position gets set to it as well. Something like this. Could try. So then this becomes not only for navigation basically, or keyboard navigation becomes also or okay, let's try something different. So we got the empty space, blah blah blah. Can we get a hover on the tile? So let's think. So basically we need a rect for this tile. And I think actually I have a function for that. Rect direct from end position. Perfect. I hope it's suitable for mouse hovering and not just... Let's see. So from end position... but it's a visual position. Direct. So I kind of remember having a function for visual pose for tile pose. Right, but that's not a rectangle. I guess I could call visual pose for tile pose and then call the rectangle one. Okay, let's try that. Yeah, that's kind of shaky, but we'll try it. That would be I plus... That's also kind of shaky. I kind of hate all of this. Round and tile. Interesting. So, tile rect from an round end tile minus round length. That looks fine to me. But we are clearly offsets. Like my mouse is at on the right side and the highlights are on the left. That doesn't really make sense. Okay. Now the distance is bigger. Okay, I wonder what's wrong exactly. Round end tile minus 1. That's supposed to be the starting tile. But... Okay, no, I'm just super dumb. Sorry. Oh, I crashed. Why? That's just a glitch that happens from time to time. I'm not sure why. I want to fix it, but you know. Okay, so now it's correct, but the rectangle is not... it's not good. So how do I compute the rectangles when I just draw the entities? Because I already kind of highlight them, right? So I think that's somewhere here. Entity, hover rect here. But that's... okay. Alright. Salut, ça va? Ça va. Alors je stream. Okay. So... Let's... Oh yeah, okay, I was looking at the... How do I compute the rectangles? So that's the tiles in hand. That's the pool. That's the menu, nothing to do with that. That's the rewards. That's the empty space that I'm trying to figure out. That's... That's the one. Okay. No, it isn't. No. Okay, well. Draw entities. Okay, here. So I'm back there. Somewhere I call draw tile. Become dead. So there is a lot of crap that I should probably separate. Maybe it's not there actually. Name of drop titans. Okay, let's look for draw and tile. Draw tile. Yeah, okay, so that's the one. That's the hover that we care about. Okay, so that's the hover rect. Okay, let's extract it into a hover rect from tile pose function because it takes it takes a visual position. But we can do that then and feed that here. Okay, let's just throw it there for now. So fuck, I already forgot how I named it. Hover rect from entity pose, visual pose. Okay. All right. And then later, where we draw the empty spaces, we can use that, I think. So we still get the visual pose for tile pose, and then we feed that to hover rect from entity visual pose. And here we go, finally we get this nice hover. And so what we want to do now is show this hover only when the active code power is not 0. So hovering, guess hovering if active God power, we don't have to say not equal 0, we can just use this shorthand. Active def ID, yeah, that's right. Okay. So right now it's not 0, so if I reset 0, and then if I click, and then I click again, and it should go back in my hands. And that's the part that we'll do now. So actually we can trigger those things just here. Trigger ability, that's right. And then we pass the ability. I think I have one for ability. Don't I have one? Apply passive. Trigger. Well, okay, it's not really an entity, that's why, okay. I guess what I could say is trigger abilities for def ID def ID, and then have all the same thing here. This one I'm not sure I need it, but and then I just call that in a loop, basically. So for each, I'm sure I have That's the one. Yeah, okay, so it's using the new one. For each for each new, okay. So we have a definition ID, so we get a definition, entity, def. I guess it's not a pointer. And then on the definition there are abilities, and we iterate each ability, and then we can trigger that ability. We don't have any, right, we just pass on the entity. In our case we won't have any entity, and the trigger we pass it on, and the context we pass it on. And this is not a pointer, and this should be passed by, I guess I have a new one called, yeah, DNR for each val. It doesn't need this one. Okay. So this guy is just below, so I need to, fuck, it's so long. Okay. So basically what that does is just, it triggers all abilities on a specific entity def ID. And I can use that here. Because I have this code power def ID. Technically we just have one ability per god power, but we could have multiple, that's why we have to do this little dance. So maybe that's not ideal. And the entity and trigger entity are null because it's not related to a specific entity. Except actually, I just realized we could use this one to pass the entity that we are taking back into our hand. Yeah, so let's do that. Do we have that on hand? Guess we just access the entities array, entities with the index. That should really be typos. I'll modify it in a bit. Pass it as a pointer. Then the entity that triggered it doesn't exist. And we miss the trigger itself. This one will be god power. That's it. That's a special kind of trigger. That's it? Or is it? Yeah. I'm wondering if we should really add a type of trigger, but I think yes. Trigger type. Okay. So now we got a compilation error for that way. Okay, still missing the context. Okay, we can put null for the context for now. So we don't crash, that's good. Actually, yeah, that's when we click here that we don't crash, and that's good. This flickering is concerning, but that's not related. Right, and so now we can add take back here. Here will be duplicate, split the land, shit. Split the land, duplicate, and grow. Vegetalize. All right. Then we need to assign this trigger to those abilities. So let's go where we do that, which is, this one is not used anymore, here. So it's a lot of switch statements with a list of stuff. It's an interesting code base. So that will be the trigger. This function basically checks. It takes a ability type, and in return, it accepts. It returns a trigger type. And so what I want to do is add all those ability types in here, so that it returns God power each time. Ability, God power. What? Don't want to autocomplete. Interesting. I forgot to name those God, like prefix that by God power. I guess that's fine. Oops. I guess we can definitely just search and replace basically. God. Let's just call it God. Hopla. God. God. Oops. All right. Also, we need to change the text. I think that would be good. It's clear which one are what. And take back, I forgot. Good. Ah! Okay. So, active God power. Okay. And as soon as we trigger, I suppose we can just reset the active God power to 0. And that will be all. Okay. Interesting. So I think I forgot to check for click. Yeah. Mouse just pressed. Okay, so now we can select, and then when we click, it goes back to 0, to the active God power def ID. Okay, nice. Now the last thing to do is to make the entities go back into the hands. And shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't be too hard. Let's go back to this trigger. Ah yes, so now we can finally implement our ability. So we need to I guess there can be multiple entities on a single location. By the way, how am I? picking which entity to pass here. That's probably not correct, actually. I'm passing the tile position into the index of entity, so that makes no real sense. So I could loop over all the entities of a tile. But to be fair, so what do we have in our hands right now? Is that still working? Let's see. I think not. Yeah. Too bad. Let's check. Draw hand. So what I'll do is I'll loop over all the tiles in the hands, which we already do here. I'll just log whatever is there. But I guess it has to be one entity per slot, right? We got 4 of those. Okay, let's try something and we'll see. Here, instead of passing the wrong entity for sure, we need to find an entity on that position. So find entity or entity at pose. Get entity at pose, okay. Oh, that's pretty old. I might want to get rid of this one, but okay, I can probably use this to iterate. Let's do that. Oops. Trigger, good. Power. Okay, so I loop over everything at this position. And we'll just hope that's the entity that we first come across. Yeah, we'll see. We'll trigger the ability for each one, and then we'll see. Okay. What's the matter? Wait, so this... it gives back an iterator. All right. Okay, so probably triggers, but now I need to implement the actual ability. Ability, take back, God take back. That's right. Perhaps we can just, for now, just log whatever the name of the entity, perhaps. Get dev entity entity index def id, sorry, up, and the name. Okay. So we take back this guy. What did it log? Insect archer, perfect. And grass, you can see it also picked up the grass part. Right. So we'll have to see how we deal with that. But for now, what we can do is just we go that hand, and the hand is a list of entities, and I think we should be able to just move the entity over to this list.
Bonjour.
Yeah, it's kind of weird, but we can probably it's tricky because I have two arrays with entities. And I never really remove entities from the world, they just die. So now I cannot really remove something from the world, which is kind of stupid. I should change it. God damn. Why is there a hole in the trees? That's new. Strange. So right now the God Power kills the entity that you touch. It's not great. So what if instead just throwing stuff right there? Wait, so doubt that this will work. It actually does, kind of. So this brings back both the creature, the monster, and the support here, but it doesn't really destroy the tile, right? The original tile. Guess we could set the tile pose at 0. That works. Not very nice, but works. I guess it just goes like there. Yeah, it's duplicated. Or we could say this guy, set it to a zeroed entity. That would be probably the best actually. So the entity that is in the world becomes a zero entity, and I think it's not rendered then. Ah, crashed the game. Whoops. Okay, let's run the debugger just to... So the correct answer is I should re-architect a little bit, I think, my game. But of course I don't want to do that midstream, it's kind of... and even I don't want to do it today, because I need to progress on the gameplay part. So now that we are running in the debugger, I think, yes, we can bring back, and we are stuck in an infinite loop. We can pause. Add entity.pause. What's that? Ah, okay, add in the sense, add to the list, okay. Could call it like gather or something. Derived. Honestly, that's kind of weird. So we are looking at the position 0. So I suppose that's when we rebuild there is a data structure. I know it's the get entity pose, okay. Who is calling that? So draw game, get attack damage, get entities in range. Okay, interesting. And we are not talking about the null entity. But we are talking about an entity which is a tile pose 6. And what we are computing in range. Honestly, this is also the old way to do that, so I'm not sure why I still have this code even. Right, this is all. But the fact that this is stuck is kind of worrying, so I should keep investigating that. So let's continue. Take this back, and we are stuck. We pause the debugger. We are at a different location. So we are stuck in this loop, basically. That's for sure. Why? I guess then derived points next on same tile. Okay, so it's when we rebuild the kind of the cache, the acceleration structure. I know it sounds crazy that I need an acceleration structure for a game so simple, but when they're like, since it's an infinite world, it becomes too slow otherwise. But I think I should rethink and simplify, because I shouldn't need such a complex thing. So entities, blah blah. Right, so what I want to do now is check. But why? Okay, so this is wrong. This thing, Visual Studio Code doesn't manage to get correct. Kind of upsetting. Don't look at that. Just Okay, honestly, I don't really get it. What I'm thinking is if that's caused by my deleting of the entity, which was yeah, that was it. Perhaps I should also delete the associated derived entity. Like that. Basically, I don't want to clean it up now. I just want it to work. Okay. Damn. Failed to read. This was null, I gather. Yeah, it kind of makes sense because the acceleration structure was computed at the start of the frame. So we need to defer the deletion, basically, like classic game dev problem or programming problem even. God damn. By the way, when I take back an entity, yeah, this one doesn't have a support, basically. I don't remember how I do that. At some point I had attached entity. Did I remove this? Ground def ID, I guess. Ground def ID here. Okay, so maybe that's something I can solve now. Do I set that to 0 then when I spawn this entity? Yes. Okay, I see. So basically, when I put back the entity in hands, first of all I should set the index to 0, to -1, something invalid. And then the grounds def ID to whatever the... Well, now I can hardcode it to grass. Oh my god. Oh, I put some prefixes that shouldn't be there. Okay. Now there is some grass below. Right? Just checking the chat. Nobody. Alright. So yeah. So I think in an ideal world I would have one big array of entities that includes also the ones that you have in your hands, and then another array that just so basically your hand array would have pointers to entities in that big general array, entities array, and then there will be an equivalent array for the world that would have pointers to entities in that master main entity array. But this one would need to support having multiple entities at the same location. Because when, for example, the heroes move, then it gets at the same position as another entity. So I guess it could be an array of some kind of yeah, it's not completely clear to me. I guess, yeah, we don't have to sort them by position. Also, I don't love having pointers in the game state. Prefer to keep indices only, which I could do. And I probably will do something like this. So the hand array would be indices into the entity array, and the world Okay, so I think I have a big plan to improve all of this. But for now, what I will do is just filter out those ground-only tiles, because I don't think we have any other kind of ground at the moment. So yeah, I will just do that for now. We'll get dev, that ID, that. I can just do if def ID equal grass ID, then we just break and hack to skip and we don't need to explain much more, it will be clear. Alright, okay, that's pretty good. Now the last thing is we need to delete this this entity without exploding everything. I think the easiest would be just to mark them as deleted. But that's kind of the question of how we do it. Perhaps in the new iteration of the design of the, not the design, the state, how I could lay it out. Perhaps the entity position should be the thing that defines if it's in the world or not. Like if tile pose is more than 0, it's considered to be in the world, and if it's 0, then it's not in the world. And it could be in hand, but it could be somewhere else. It could just not exist. And so setting the position to 0 would remove it from the world. But in this case, we would just put it back in the hand. Simple. I should have checked what happened actually. So nothing happens if I click here. Fail to read, so again a null pointer. Because I just I re-enabled that. Okay, didn't even notice. So so we could say I guess that the entity becomes dead. And you would need to do it there. And then 2. Come on. Okay, take back. The wrong one is dead. The hell. Yeah, that's oops. Entity dead. True. Yes. Okay. But then there is still the ground that needs to be removed. So I guess I hate getting stuck like this. Entity right. I guess we can just have a list of entities to delete. Entities index indices to delete, and we just delete them at the end of the frame. I think that would be best. Plop, plop, plop. Put maybe for one frame the entity will be drawn twice then, but that's okay. I don't care at this point. And the index will be entity. I guess I put it there. Entity index. Then I don't need to make it dead. Okay. Alright, and then at the end of the frame, so did they have something like simulate order? Like, is it in render that I update the active set and all? No, huh? Oh yes, it is. Okay, not even draw game. Okay, I see. Okay, so it's worse. But perhaps I could do it just before, basically. So let's go like this, and then then we can do that, I think. Entity index will be there. And then game state entities. Okay. What's up with that? What? Okay. Alright. So I don't know what's up with that either. Ah, okay. I forgot I named it like this. Okay. Alright. Let's try one more time. And it hangs. Okay, that's too bad. Hmm. Ah, that kind of makes sense actually, because this is not yet updated. And it's in temporary memory. Okay, so let's actually do it at the end of the frame, like plans. This is maybe a bit far. And also it's kind of a hack. So we'll clean it up later. Ah, still not working. What about just give it a position of okay, you know what? If that works, then I'm happy. Yeah, that's totally fine. I think. Should it go to the left instead of the right? I don't know. No, I think the right is nice actually. So it's different from the regular drawing. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. What did I do? So weird. Okay, let's try a real scenario. So, for example, moving this guy here, so I can use this spell. What? Why is it like all? Alright, then we just have one problem, which is that like there was this real bug before. I'm not sure. I hope it's not sure what happened there. Probably it will happen again and we'll see. But for now, one visual issue is that the entity comes from the right when we bring it back because the camera has scrolled and the coordinates don't match anymore. And so we have this that translates coordinates. So I guess we could do the same the other way. But I don't think it will fix it. Take back up. That works, but the camera is at 0, so it's normal. Does this work? That's the question. I don't think it will. Huh, it does kind of a curve. Okay. Why though? Okay, so and now the bug is just reappeared. Oh, I know. It's my to delete array that I never clear. To delete. Entities. How do you... Okay. Alright. Really dumb. Clear it. Okay, so it does a weird, like, path, but it works. It seems. Whoops, I just took my hero back. So let's move a bunch of rounds. Save, so that we can come back to this state, and let's take back this guy. Okay, so it flies off to the right, I think. But if we are one round and we like slow down time and take back this guy. Also, first of all, there is a fade. Didn't realize that. Do I have some kind of velocity slash speed slash something I'm forgetting? Visual vel. Diesel pose smooth proxy. I think that might be this. Like if I set that to the same value as this, perhaps. And then we'll check for the opacity as well. So I guess I just want to go to the round 2 actually. And we'll save the state here. Up, then take back. This way, now it looks kind of good. And I forgot about this, like if I take back a grass tile, then it will disappear because it gets filtered out. So we need to add another hack that says if there is no other entities on this tile, then still bring it back in the deck. But well, at least this animation is now working, I think. And then there is just, it fades in, like instantly out and then in. And that we probably want to fix. And I think heat effect timer, blah blah blah. Slide in anim. No, that's not the one. Fade in, I guess that's it. And we move towards 1, so we'll just set it to 1 instantly. In hand entity, fade in, instantly 1. Great, let's make it. So load this. Perfect. And then we just need to fix this bug. And then we'll be good. So I hate that it's a hack, but it will have to do for now. So basically we need to find all the entities on this tile, which is kind of the same as when we triggered the thing here. Oops, sorry. Oh my god. So how can we do that? We could filter out the thing here, to be honest. We could not pass an entity here and pass it instead using the context, which, oops, trigger context, I guess it's called. Trigger context. And is a new thing that I added recently, so God, power, selected tile, position, right. This will be initialized to 0. God, power, select. Basically, tile pose. Basically, the context is just a way to provide some more information to the abilities that get triggered. And in this case, instead of passing an entity through the normal arguments, I pass the selected position through the context argument. And then we'll be free to iterate inside the ability, which is much cleaner, I think, anyway. Alright, hover identity, each at pose. Okay, so pose is I, actually. That's something I wanted to rename to tile pose. So it's clear what I is, because it's starting to be a very big loop. Alright, does it compile? Yes. And then we go back to our ability God take back. And we do the filtering here instead. So something like each at pose instead of I will access the context. We go God powers and we go tile pose. God power. Please. Okay. And what's the matter? Did I just not selected tile pose? Okay, okay. Fair enough. Override entity. Yeah, I guess that's correct. And I think instead of using this macro, we'll just make a list of entities at this position, like that. Entity, entity. But first it will be empty. Or actually no, get entities at pose. That's the new function, which is better. Up, and then we iterate this. Din R for each new. No, for each val. Entities. It's very hard to spell. Okay, and then we can just grab all of this and put that there. And we add a simple check here. If the whole array size is equal to 1, then we don't want to skip, right? Because it means that there is just one tile on this location and we need to put it back into the deck and not skip it as a grass tile. It's not happy for this. Double pointer gets a list of pointers to entities. Okay. And okay, so let's be careful. We need to replace all of those. Okay, I think that's it. Let's restart the game just in case. Let's put some tiles down. Let's actually load the old one. Aha, okay. Is it just for the grass, or is it for all? It's for all. So, what's the matter? Let's pull out the debugger. Take back. All right. Okay, so interesting. So why didn't my breakpoint hit though? So this assumes that entity is never null, I guess. Okay. Triggerability. We can just do it when we know entity is not null. And that can just be 0 by default. I think that's just some utility variables that. Okay, so fixed it. Great. Let's try it here. This works. This works. And this also works. Perfect. Nice. Oh, okay. We can still take the hero back. We should, of course, prevent that this is possible, but that will do for now. Okay. Okay, I'll push that already. Update to the engine, what did I change? Yep. This was just the thumbnail of the stream, can discard it. And those I don't use yet. Implement. Good. Can push. Okay, and let's move on to the next one, which is kind of exciting. It's about adding an empty space after a tile. I think I said after. All right. Gods. Take back, and then we have God split the land, and it will work. So now that we have all the infrastructure, it should be much easier to implement it. Famous last words. Let's see. So we got a position, a tile position, and we want to add an empty tile basically at that tile position. So we need to shift all entities that are after that tile position. I guess we can just loop over all entities. Means smaller than array length of the entities. Again, I keep entities. Increment the index. And okay, so we get their tile pose, and what we want to check is the tile position bigger or equal to this one, right? The one that the player clicked, basically. And if it is, we want to increase it by 1. Hopefully that's enough. Perhaps we need to update the... Let's see what it does. Nice! I think that's a first try. I thought about if it should be, the space should be to the left or to the right. I think I said add empty space before a tile in the world. I think my thinking is that then you can basically, if you select a solid tile, I mean, yeah, both could be. Now that I use it, I feel like it would be more intuitive if we add it to the right. Right, let's try. Yeah. Of course, ideally we would select like in between two tiles, but I don't want to program that now. It's kind of cool. I wish it was animated, like this one was. I'll tell you why. It's because the skeleton was still arriving at its position. Basically, entities have a bool flag that tells if they are still animating. Finished animating, that's the one. So I guess if we put it to false, then everybody should animate. Let's try. Nice. The tile disconnects for the duration of the movement, but that's not so much of a problem, I think. Then we have another problem, which is the end of the round doesn't adapt. But I think we can fix that by doing, basically by changing it, and round and tile. Yes, it works. Cool. Quite like it. Perhaps those wireframes should not show until the animation finished, but otherwise it's pretty neat. Okay, so that one was very, very fast to implement. Huh? Compared to the previous one. Let's commit it. Implemented. Okay. And maybe we can try duplicate. That should be rather easy, I would guess. Yes, let's try. So the only thing is, instead of selecting something in the round, we select a tile in hand. just realized with my idea of vegetalize that it grows trees on every grass tile. You would need to trigger it once you placed everything, and at that stage the player is already moving, the hero is already moving, so that might prove to be a problem. Maybe just vegetalize in your hand as well. But yeah, duplicate and select in the hand sounds good. But in that case we need kind of some function that tells us if a specific god power needs the player to select something as a tile or as a hand tile, basically. So god power needs ward pose selection. Or just ward pose. And then you pass an ability. God power. Well, I guess if a god power has multiple abilities, we would have a problem, but maybe that's fine. God power needs hand tile. Index. Alright, and if the so maybe we do also switch just to be consistent. God power ability by default we say false, and if we have a take back or a split the lands, then it's a true. Then we have the same setup for the other one. What's the matter? What? State one requires expression of integer type ability. Ah, okay. This is an ability type, not an ability. My bad. Okay. And then we got the other one, which is duplicate. And the other one don't need any selection, I believe. By the way, there are 4 here. Okay, I forgot to put. Where did it go? I think discard tiles. Something like this. I guess this one is really easy to do. Maybe I could do it first. active good power. This is set to whatever, right. So I guess we can say if it needs a world position, fuck, we need to look through the abilities, which is terrible. Oh, we just assume that there is one. Yeah. Needs world pose selection pose. Needs world with hands tile index selection pose. Then if we have abilities we can put actual values. God power needs world pose. If ability, I also struggle with this word. Up, take the first one, and then this guy. Alright. What's the issue with that? Alright, type. Then, if either of those is true, we just mark the active god power as this. Otherwise, we can just trigger it, right? Instantly. So we just trigger it basically like this. We don't need to pass a tile position, we don't need to pass anything, I believe. This can be 0. And this will be just def ID. And this should already be at 0, but we can just check. I mean, okay, then entropy. Entropy is quite easy, so we can implement it right now. We just say hands, and then we just clear, right? Just clear, why not then clear the hands. Okay, the hand disappears. That's what we want, but then we need to draw again. So that would be hands fill, something like this. Refill hands. Perfect. That one was super fast to implement too. That's quite satisfying. All right. The duplicate one is a bit more complex because, of course, we need the selection. But we could already implement the logic, I think. We just need here to add our selected hands index. That's fine. And tile index. And then we say something like we just access the hands. Selected hand tile index. And then basically we just insert a new entity. So I think it's called QPut from a long time ago. Something like this. Urgent rename, yes. I should rename. Maybe I could do it now. QPut. We need the definition ID and some position. Okay. And the last one is alt as well. Let's check what position I give for the other one. Get player deck visual pose. I suppose I could just take the position of the card that we are duplicating. It would look kind of cool. Let's give this position for now and try not to forget to do the cool thing later. Def ID, of course. Def ID. Okay, so now we still need the selection. I kind of forgot. Basically, like, we use this value, selected hand tile index, and so we should feed it just like we feed it here when we click a tile, like that. Now we need to do the same for this. When we click a tile here, we want, instead of placing it, that it triggers the application, right? So let's go to where you hover hand cards. Is that it? No. So I'm just brute forcing through my code. But now, here, I recognize, okay. So if we are hovering, there is a bunch of stuff that happens, and this is the actual on-click action, I guess. And normally it should be place a tile, but if we have an active God power, we do something else, right? We trigger it. That should be easy enough. Okay, so this I just had in my clipboard, that we don't care, I think. Mouse just pressed, we already covered that. We make a context and then selected hand tile index. And I guess hand index then? Yes. Where was I? Here. Okay, just what? So the loop, where is the loop? The loop is there. And normally with this macro, I should get hand index as an int. Ends, not hand. Although it would make sense to call it hand index, but okay. So duplicate. Okay, we crash. By the way, I should fix this crash screen has an issue right now. Let's just fix it while I think of it. Recovery, blah blah. Mouse rect. All right. Up. Okay. I thought this would solve my problem, but apparently not. Duplicate. Ah, okay. Okay, it's fixed. Just since it's in the core of the engine, it doesn't hot reload. I forgot about that. Okay. So now this is not working. We read from the null page. What did we try to do? Get player. So I suppose the context is probably empty. Let me just redo that once. Duplicate. Okay, okay. So I just forgot to say that this ability basically. No, I didn't forget. Okay, so somehow it's still. Aha. Okay, I'm not using this function. Okay, that's sus. All right. Stupid bug. Ah, okay, so it doesn't work yet. So this should definitely be true, but maybe got duplicate. Maybe I forgot to assign the... No. But so, okay, so we still arrive at this stage where so basically one of these variables is none of those are true for some reason. So what did I mess up? What did I miss? Let's put a breakpoint. Let's wait. I should be able to continue from the error, like to the next frame. That used to work, but apparently it's okay. Duplicates. Fuck. Ah, this time it worked, but then it crashes. What? That's so weird. Draw text. Draw. Some kind of memory corruption, I guess. I will have to investigate at some point. All right, duplicate. So here we are supposed to return true. And we do. Ah! I should have put a... Oh. I just didn't realize I put a... Okay. So... Duplicate. Yeah! Nice! Now, what we want to do probably is make it appear next to the one we clicked. Duplicate. So instead of put, instead of Q put, I need a custom version of this mess. Okay. Make entity entity for and it will need a def ID and yes, a start pose. Def ID anim start pose. That gives us an entity. Up. This can go, we don't need it anymore. Up. Okay. That way I should be able to basically use this and then just put it, insert it in the array. That should work. Or I could have added a parameter basically. You know what, maybe I should have done that. Because why introduce a new function? Like I don't anticipate that I will need many to do some stuff like this many times. So int insert at index, and this will just be 0 most of the time. Insert at index. And also, instead of calling it qput, we will call it and insert entity or something. Yeah, that's fine. And then we go through and replace. And this guy can get that basically. Even that, even. Okay, we didn't use place many times actually. Okay, and then visual position. This will be the last item of polish. Nice, looks kind of cool. There is kind of a weird glitch, I feel. Like a flash at the right of the... What the hell? Why is it red when it fades in? Huh? Where is the tree? Ah, it was waiting for those guys to show. Because we have kind of a timer shared between the board and the hand. Why is it red when it fits in? That's kind of strange. Entropy. Yeah, the last tile flickers for a frame, which looks kind of bad. I'm guessing because the loop that draws the... Like we are modifying the array that we are iterating, if that makes sense. So trigger this guy, yes. So we trigger the god power. No, that's the one. That's the one. Hold on, yeah, we should have 4. God power. That's the one in hand. Okay, okay. So what I was saying is when we trigger this, the array size changes, right? And probably this guy, this macro, doesn't take that into account. So let's change that with a good old handmade loop. Dun, dun, dun. I, and instead of I, of course, it should be and index. And hold on, it's not an entity, it's the hand, right? That's kind of confusing. Like that. And so and index should be named differently, for sure. And index. Or maybe hand slot index, something like this. No, hand index is fine. Okay. And that was just to fix a visual glitch. Oh my, beautiful, magnifique, magnifique. All right. I still don't know why they are red when they spawn. I guess. Is it the case also when we draw? So just playing the game in slow-mo. Yeah, I think this guy is red. This guy is not, but because it was waiting, waiting in the background. Okay, I think that means hand making the... I think that means here we should initialize some kind of animation timer. Hit effect timer. Maybe this guy goes up now instead of down. I think that's it. Right. I changed that recently, that's why. So maybe we put it to infinity or something. Don't I have... What's the matter with that? Ah! It was not a problem with this, it was a problem with this. I see. Okay, so now I guess if I go very slow and duplicate, that might be a bit too slow, and duplicate a tile, no more red. Good. It even looks good with the fade in. Cool. Duplicate beam. So this one works. This one works. This one works. This one works. This one is just the bonus one that I bought off. Do we really need it? Okay, let's, for the sake of doing all of them, let's do it. Let's do it. Do we have anybody in the chat? Not really, not at all. Okay, that's okay. Vegetalize, vegetalize. I suppose we want, so let's already go to the location. Ability, gods, vegetalize. We want to iterate all tiles that are visible. But there was this question of, do we also change the tiles in hands? Perhaps we can just shelve it for now. Would be kind of cool though. Okay, let's try. Let's try. Or I don't remember the entities derived. No, it's not those, it's the active set. Active set. Active entities, it's called, okay. It's an old style array, interesting. Okay. Then R for each. Up. So I take the address of the entity. Alright, so if... Hold on. I think there is a better way to do it. We will just iterate all the tile positions. Tile positions of the round, right? So round start tile, I think I have now. Tile pose smaller than round and tile pose plus plus, and then for each of those we take a dynamic array of tile lock entities. Getting sleepy. I think it's pointer to entities. That would make sense. And then get entities at pose. Tile pose. Right? Got our entities are for each end. Whoops. Okay. Okay. So basically, if the entity def ID, it's kind of the same as the take back condition. Basically, if we don't have just one entity, or actually if we do have only one entity and it's a grass ID, this one we can leave like this, not really a hack. Then we need to grow an entity, right? How do we do that? Let me mark this spot and then place. I guess we have a function called place. We find a position, place at. That will be perfect. It still works. Let's find our position. Okay. So we place at this tile pose, and the visual position will be just get pose, entity, pose. Please. I used it at the start of the stream. I forgot the name of the function. I apparently did not use it. Oh, I used it, but I deleted it. No, I'm pretty sure it's position. Visual pose for tile pose. Right. Tile pose. And then the def ID, of course, tree ID. Doesn't work. Are we cold at all? Yes. Not the correct breakpoint. Okay, we are cold. Tile position is 0. I guess we are in the first round, so that's okay. Okay, so now which one of those? To me it looks good, so I don't know why. So if I look, it goes twice around the loop. 13. And this guy is 13, okay. Three. 1, 2, 3, so we're here. So the next one. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, maybe. Now we are maybe here. 6, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this guy has only one entity normally. So this should be okay. And the entity def ID is 26, not 18, 13. Okay. And we do another round, and this time it's 13. What's 26? Or 28, I don't remember. Let's see. 28. I don't see it. Am I confusing like entity indices and FIDs? No. So we got the 13 here, but 28. Or 26. Those are all over 100. That's weird. Ah, 28 is a tree. Okay, maybe the ID of the tree changed. 86. That's okay. That's it. Oak tree. Ah. Okay. Tree doesn't exist anymore. Okay. That's just Just a sad reality. Alright. So, what have we got? Oops, I quit without meaning to. Okay, so Vegetalis. Hey! Isn't it great? And perhaps we could also vegetalize the tiles in hand. So for that we iterate the tiles in hand. Like that. And we just have to check. So that's an entity. We need to also have a def ID, and if the def ID is grass ID, then the def ID switches to oak tree ID. Perfect. Just one problem, it removes the ground. Not sure why. Because like normally I think there is a ground, like every hand style has a ground def ID. Let's just check this. Whoopsie. ID 0. And we are talking about this guy. No, we are not. We're talking about this guy. Ah, yes, of course. If it's grass, they don't have a... Okay, yeah, that makes sense. It's me that is dumb. Then the ground needs to become grass. Up. Nice. Those are maybe a bit too much, but it's okay. Kind of fun. Okay. I think I kind of forgot to commit as I implemented stuff, but that's okay. Fix mouse. Implemented. I don't remember what was the last one I pushed. Take back. Split the land. Duplicate. Entropy. And vegetalize. God powers. It's pretty good. I think I'm slowly going to stop for the day, but I still want to try to add something pretty easy. Two things actually. One thing is when we click take back, we need some kind of text that tells us to select an entity to take back, right? Other than that, I want that when you hover those God Power, this box on the bottom left describes them basically. What the hell? Ah, okay. Interesting. Let's rewind. Okay, so I guess it's a problem of alignment. And the center pixel is drawn twice. Something like this. It looks kind of weird. But there it looks perfect. I have to find out more later. All right. Then let's go and do both things I mentioned. First, the text. Round. Let's just put it there. Good. Let's call it prompt. Player prompt. We'll just get the layouts. Prompt. Center it, perhaps put it a little higher on screen, so a tree or something like this. 30% of the screen from the top, basically. And then we just draw kind of a big text, I would say. Draw text tree. If it direct, say like select a tile. And then text, draw text option, draw text options. Select a word tag. Let's give it a proper size. 14 times 2. So it's pixel perfect. Just double the... Good. Alright, and then that will be message. And usually it's null, but sometimes sometimes if we got active got powered FID, then it changes to either this or that. If God power needs world pause. That's it. Ah, fuck. I need to do the hack again. Okay, let's move the hack out of the... into this function, actually. This will take this. Sorry. This will take def ID. Which simplifies things a little bit. Hold on. We reset it there. Oh, I meant to pass this. Okay. Oh, and then here, yes, that's it. I can finish this, then I don't have to modify it afterwards. Needs and tile index. Okay. What's the matter? Prompt. Beep. Oh yeah. I kind of forgot I need to finish this. No type error, it's interesting. Def ID. And there I do all the hackish, the hackish stuff that I copied here. Not this one. So get def ID. Almost there. I see. I mean, okay, I will forward declare this shit. Like that. And this shit too. Oh no. Then maybe it makes more sense to move that down. And this one as well. def. Okay, much better. I need to update the other one with essentially the same, exact same shit. Def ID. Okay. Take back, split the lands, select a ward tile, select a ward tile, and then duplicate, select a tile from your hand. If I do split the land and click here, why? Because I still trigger. That should do it. Same for the other guy. Okay, let's see. So duplicate, and I select something here, it doesn't work. Split the land, and I select something here, doesn't work. I mean, it should probably not place. But you know, it's okay. All right. Think that. Oh no! Wait, there is still one thing. So let's commit this. What was that? Oh yeah, added homes. Fixed. Not bother mentioning this. There is still one thing. When we hover those buttons, why does it take that long to start up? Okay, just a glitch. When we hover those buttons, I want this to show. Easy. Easy enough. God powers. That's right. So I think I have some way to detect hover. Last rect maybe? But just for layouts. Experimental. Well, I mean, that makes sense. If I have the rect, why do I need the... yeah, I'm just dumb. I can just say hovering rect or something. And if we hover the rects, then we want to show the detail panel basically. Tail panel. And this guy takes a def ID correct. So def ID, I suppose, and we can just pass our rect. It's not used anymore anyway. That's also something I could clean up. And then magic. Take back one tile from the world, split the land. Perfect. That was easy. 3 lines. Show details panel when hovering god powers. And that's it. I push and my day is done. Alright. Nobody went in the chat, nobody watched probably, but that's fine. Still happy to have done the stream. Might clip some interesting stuff, I don't know. Don't know if it's worth it. But yeah. See you next time if you're watching this. Bye.